No matter the size of your group or organization, each and every gathering of individuals will go through a couple different types of phases to help that creation of what that community will look like. So let's take a couple moments to talk about group development. In the very beginning of each and every group that gathers, there's a forming stage where people don't necessarily know each other. They're starting to learn a little bit more about one another, figuring out how they work together as well as why they are gathering together. In this forming stage, there is a lack of clear goals. Not exactly sure what you're looking forward to, but still trying to figure out at this point why you have gathered together as a group to form an organization. There's a real dependence on one another in trying to figure out what is exactly happening with this group. Sometimes there's a desire for acceptance. People are trying to find their clique, find their niche, figure out where they fit within the larger community. This forming stage will lead into the next stage as sometimes conflicts will arise, and we call this the storming phase. In the storming phase, as I said, there are conflicts that might arise for various reasons. There's disagreements between people, different power struggles that are occurring, because you still don't completely know every single facet of the other individuals in your group, and you're starting to realize that some people you don't necessarily agree with, and finding a way to help those agreements between people and figuring out how you can work together as co-group members. There might be some general discomfort, whether it's discussed or not discussed, that's occurring during this storming phase because it's uncomfortable when people are having a conflict when they're not understanding one another. Fortunately, we know after the storming phase will come the norming phase, where everything starts to normalize. People are starting to understand each other, whether it's the benefits of working with other individuals or knowing exactly how another individual might work to help the larger picture. In the norming phase, there's a consensus amongst group members, as well as each group member has started to figure out their role. Those roles are more clear, and the responsibilities of those roles are more defined. Lastly, there is a sense of trust within the norming phase because you have had a chance to know each other. You're starting to gather more information about how you work within the large scheme of the group, and there's a general trust having had prior experience with people. That trust helps continue us into the performing stage where things are starting to look really well for your group as you are starting to achieve those goals. You're starting to reach that final destination. There is a clear vision, there is a purpose or an idea of what you're trying to achieve, and you are starting to achieve it. You're starting to feel an interdependence between one another, realizing you can rely on other people and continuing to build that community amongst each other and helping support each other in the best way you can. Because at this point, as I said, you are achieving things. As the performing stage continues, you might reach an adjourning stage. The adjourning stage is that time where people might be leaving for various reasons, whether it's graduation or just other things, time commitment-wise, are taking them away from that group. During that adjourning phase, you've kind of reached the task completion, whether it's a group project and you have completed something, or you've just reached the next phase within a project. Something is being completed or reaching a closure phase. During this time is also the chance to recognize all of the events and all of the different things that have happened within your group and recognize the individuals that may be leaving and the individuals that are staying. As these 5 phases are defined, they will continue in different amounts of times for different groups. Every group will experience group development in different ways. The process does continue though. Even though people are leaving, you want to continue to be recruiting new members, finding people to help build that organization, help grow the ideas that are being created there. You also want to keep the members that you've had because this is how you've gotten this far, is by having those members, helping them keep engaged. As a leader, you play different roles in each one of the phases. For instance, in the forming stage, you kind of play the facilitator, helping people get to know each other, helping break the ice. During the storming phase, you're working as a mediator, helping to resolve conflicts, helping yourself to understand how other people are working. Norming stage, you're working as a motivator. You have realized that people are starting to understand how each other work and helping push to that next step of the performing stage. Which in the performing stage, you are a team member, you are a part of that group, you have helped the community get this far, so working within the group and helping to achieve those final goals. Lastly, in that adjourning phase, you're a supporter. Whether it's a supporter for the people that are leaving or a supporter for those that are staying, you're helping to support the group as a whole so you can continue on developing and creating new material, new ideas. Each and every group will have a different experience with group development. Figuring out how your group exists in each of those phases relies on the community as a whole and also your role as a leader in the group.